Hey guys, let me I was gonna say let me get my um chat box up here. And Texas, I'm liking the continued alterations to rainbow eyes. I've got skinny ties tonight. So uh I'm gonna be sad the day you run out of these alterations. Um let's see here. Yeah, just trying not to have too much light on me, but enough that I'm not in complete darkness. Um, Still haven't got the green screen set up with this yet. It's probably going to take me some practice before I can actually do that. I was hoping, Texas, that we'd have more people in here tonight. Maybe some more people are going to show up by the time I actually get to the movies, which I'll do a little blabbing as I usually do. Now we got 3 people in here, so now we got 4. Texas, are you sure you aren't on 2 devices tonight? Because sometimes that fools me. I'll think there's more than just you in here, and you'll say, "No, I'm on 2 devices," or at least you did that one night. Um, it's like, uh, I thought I was looking a little more pale than usual tonight. Um, Maybe it's because health wise I've been feeling a little bit worse, but not so bad that I can't do these streams. I like to do these streams; they're enjoyable for me. So before I start talking about anything, you had to hear about New Year's Evil. Let me ask you this, Texas. I can't remember. Have you seen New Year's Evil before? You have AEW on the TV. Yeah, there was John was talking about all the AEW drama last night. So I asked Steve about it, and not that I didn't believe John, but he basically was giving me a little more information about what went down last time on AEW. But um, we are going to talk about Motel Hell. This is like the Best Buy, I think it was a Best Buy exclusive steelbook. Um, Yeah, I think I'm remembering that now. You saying that I did, unfortunately, was too young to go see it in the theater when it came out, but I just think that is awesome. And we are also going to be talking about New Year's Evil. This is the Kino Lorber version that just came out not very long ago. Um, I kind of like this artwork here. This isn't the original artwork, but I think it's pretty cool. Um, and I also wanted to remind you that next Wednesday, we'll be talking about offerings. This is another one that I just absolutely love. Steve and I, a while back, did a commentary for this one. And pledge night. So y'all can look forward to, yeah, you're to commit murder. If you want to say it like evil. I can't even do it as good as Kip Niven did with the, and it seemed like in the movie he had a device to make himself do that. But I think when they did the interview with Kip Niven, he actually said that he was able to make that voice more distinct by just using, I guess, his vocal cords or whatever. Pledge night blows. You know, I admit it is very, very cheesy. Um, it does have Joey Belladonna from Anthrax playing the killer. Or well, actually, he doesn't play Acid Sid, but it's supposed to be his character. I think somebody else actually plays Acid Sid. But I think in the hazing scenes, I think that is actually Joey belladonna from anthrax. Um, but I hope you'll still come by Texas, even though you think Pledge Night blows. You can maybe enjoy offerings. I don't know if you've ever seen offerings before, but it's cheesy too, but it's still fun. Hey, Menelect, glad to have you in here. We do have at least seven people watching. Um, but I just see Texas and Menelect in the chat, actually. Uh, a little bit about the work situation. Well, I'm always glad to have you, Texas. I would be sad if you stopped showing up for the streams, because I would think I did something to really offend you, because you're usually in every one of my streams that I do. The work situation, I did get another email from the head of HR, and once again, they kind of reprimanded me for answering emails when I was not on the clock. And I was like, well, I wanted to promptly reply to you, and then they were like, no worries, you know. But I guess the truth of the matter is they don't want to pay me, and they thought I was going to demand pay. I wasn't going to demand shit. I was just wanting to communicate. Middle-aged, you say we need to remember that human beings have real lives off of YouTube. Um, yeah, we always need to remember that. I'm not sure if you're pointing that towards me because you think that I'm wanting people to be on these streams all the time. But I hope that's not what you're thinking, because I fully realize people have lives off of YouTube. I have a life off of YouTube. I love doing these streams, and I just always like to invite people. But I'm sorry if I offended you in any way by saying that I hope we get a few more people in here. You say, no, it's not what I'm thinking. Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I don't offend anybody. But sometimes I ramble on at the mouth, and sometimes I may. I was. Oh, you were pointing the comment towards your life. Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. I just don't want to offend anybody at all. Um, so, um, So anyway, I basically asked the head of HR. I said, because they gave me more ADA paperwork and asked me to bring that to my primary care physician about the long COVID symptoms. And so I basically asked them, because they told me the work from home could not continue indefinitely. They want a time period. So I don't know how my primary care physician is going to give them a time period, because this long COVID varies for each person. Some people have went just 2 or 3 months, some people 8 months and still going. So I don't know if they want her to put something like 6 months and then us revisit it at the end of 6 months. If they want her to put 2 months, if they want her to put 1 month, I have no idea what they're trying to get out of me. But anyway, I asked, I said, so if I have continued fevers, I said, are you guys going to demand that I come back to work in the office, if further endangering other people that I work around? And also weakening my health by making me come into the office instead of allowing me to stay home and work from home. Um, Well, Menelec, I do live, unfortunately, in an at will state, and I know what that means. That means they can fire my ass for anything. Um, so I am fully aware of that. But when I feel like I'm being retaliated against or treated unfairly, regardless of where I'm living in an at will state or not, I will fight. And, you know, Millie, maybe you can shed some light on how much power an HR director actually has. It sounds like you're saying they have a lot of power, especially in an at will state. But I can't just, I can't just sit back and take it. I feel like I've got to do something because if somebody doesn't step up and say something, this kind of stuff is just going to keep happening over and over um, again. Uh, I mean, like you say, reasonable accommodation is a slippery slope that companies always get themselves in trouble with. Um, so you're saying the company gets themselves in trouble with? Um, well, I mean, the thing is, yes, and like I'm fully aware of that. An HR person or the employer themselves can fire in an at will state. I am fully aware of that. But even if they fire me, I will continue to fight it. I might not win, but it's worth fighting for. Um, you say an HR director can fire you in an at will state for no cause, but if they fire you with cause, the cause needs to be legal. Yeah, I mean, like that's actually what I'm feeling like the company is doing to me, that they're violating the reasonable accommodations because I have, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but when I originally tried to get the reasonable accommodations to work from home, it was because of my mental health issues, my panic attacks, anxiety, depression. I felt like that I was being more productive at home. The panic attacks had nearly stopped. I was not having to take as much anxiety medicine. I thought I had dotted my I's and crossed my T's and got, all the information from my mental health professionals that I needed to. HR unfortunately came back and said that working from home was not a viable, reasonable accommodation for me because as a help desk technician, um, I simply needed to be in the office at times. And even though I offered for large scale things and equipment moves and all of that, where you had to go to different locations, I offered to come in. I just literally, when I was working the help desk and working the ticket queue, I was asking to be able to work from home and they would not allow it. So now they're giving me more ADA reasonable accommodation paperwork to take to my primary care physician for the long COVID. So I don't know how that's going to go because they're expecting, like I said, they're expecting the primary care physician to give them a timeline of when I'll be able to return to the office. And I just don't know feasibly how my primary care physician is going to do that because each individual is different with long COVID. But yeah, I get totally what you're saying. But that for the very reason that I know that they could fire me, I am looking at other options for different jobs so that I am not without a job for very long, even if they do fire me. So yeah, I think it's stupid that anybody would vote for um, anybody, especially in the work sector. Why in the world would they vote a bunch of yo-yos in to make these laws or let a law be passed that makes them an at-will state? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. And not all states are at-will states. But unfortunately, Kentucky's stupid enough that they want to be an at will state. and didn't try to fight it. They just let it go. But I appreciate you sharing that information, Menelect. I had no idea that you were a former HR director. So I hope you don't take offense when I've been talking about my particular company's HR department, because I've called them idiots and everything else. So please don't think it's directed towards you as an individual, because that was not my intention. I'm talking about in my specific case. Now, I know some people have said overall that HR sucks dick and different things, but that hasn't always been the case with me for every job, but this particular job, it certainly has been. Mel, like you said, conservatives write laws that always accrue to the benefit of the employer over the employee. They definitely do. They definitely do. Um, and I think that's part of the big problem in the United States, especially too many conservatives trying to run the country. I guess that's a helicopter or something going over. Um, like you said, if your HR department have quality legal counsel, you would likely receive a favorable outcome. Honestly, I don't know what they have, um, but in in my case and my experience with this particular HR department is one person in the HR department will tell you one thing and another will tell you something else. It's like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And so then by the time the head of HR gets all their ducks in a row, everything's all messed up. So it's just really a mess. It seems like now they're backing off a little bit, and I don't know why. Um, I don't know if they're afraid of losing quality employees, and I'm not saying I'm a quality employee. I'm just saying I try my best at any job that I've had, but I'm not going to sit back and just let somebody railroad me. Um, that's when I start getting tough. I'll be nice, and I've still been nice to them, but I'm not sure what it kind of makes me worried, and then I don't, because I don't know why they're backing off. I mean, are they planning on firing me? So therefore they'll just kind of uh, ease my mind, and then bam, they're going to fire me. I don't know what they're doing. But it seems very strange that after the last couple of emails I had to them, and nowhere did I mention bringing any kind of legal action against them. I know better than that. But after the last couple of emails I sent, they backed way off. So I don't know what their tactic is now. Um, like you said, what helps you is if they fire you after static over your reasonable accommodation, they know if you sued them, usually you would win over retaliation. Well, I guess the problem, intellect, is that I haven't been fired yet. And I actually talked to a couple of lawyers' offices, and they basically told me they couldn't help me. One guy told me, and he was not a lawyer, he was one of their support personnel. He's kept me on the phone for 45 minutes, taking down all this information and said, sorry, we can't help you, and gave me a website. So I was a little bit perturbed over that. It's like when it gets down to brass tacks, they tell you they can't help you. So I really don't know if I should just forget about the legal thing unless I do get fired, and then maybe I would have a case. Um, or what? Texas, just be careful. They might be wolf cop fans. I got to put that up there. That's great. Yeah, I mean, like I have tried to contact the EEOC, but here's the deal about, like, I guess our EEOC sucks here in Louisville because um due to COVID-19, our Louisville office of the EEOC um, is not accepting walk-ins or in-person interviews. And you have to have an interview before you file a complaint against an employer. So I went through the initial process and then got to the part where I scheduled an interview, which is going to have to be a phone interview. Um, all the months, every day of every month for the rest of the year and into the first of next year is grayed out. You can't even pick anything. So I don't know if um, other EEOC offices are like that, but the one in Louisville just, I don't know what the deal is. Um, yeah, Menelect in a lot of ways, and I'm going to put that up there. The good news is that they have not fired you. But I never know I never know what they are thinking. And I just lost a viewer there. So I must be boring people. So, I'm gonna get off the train about work and stuff because people are really here to talk about movies. But I do thank you, like for all that insight into HR and what you think I should do and all of that. I certainly appreciate all of that. Um, so, one of the other things I wanted to talk about before we get into the movies tonight is the watch along that I've got planned for Saturday. I went on and planned it for Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time for Evil Laugh. Now, for those of you that are currently in the chat or watching this, you're gonna kind of get a leg up. Oh, thank you, Texas. You say we've got your back. You know this. Yes, I know my friends certainly have my back, no matter what happens. Um, but you guys in the chat or watching are going to get, or watching right now rather, are going to get a leg up on other people. Unless there were people that already saw this on Facebook. So I have the link to the movie. There is a pretty decent link for Evil Laugh on YouTube. I will also put that in the chat come Saturday. But in addition to that, and I lost more viewers, we're down to 6 now. Um, in addition to that, I am going to offer a special treat for you guys since I'm using StreamYard and it's easier to invite people. You just send a link and then you can invite them into the stream when they show up. So I can have up to 6 people on the stream with me, or I mean, up to 5 people, 6 counting me. So I can have up to 5 extra people on the free version of StreamYard on the stream with me. This will be the first time I've ever done this, but if you comment underneath the post for the Evil Laugh watch along, which I already have up, it's on my personal page, it's on the Deadites on Deck page, or you send me a message on Facebook. The first 5 people that do that and tell me that they wish to be live on the screen with me, then you will get your wish. You will get to be on the live stream with me on camera if you'd like. Some people may want to turn their camera off and have kind of like a placeholder or something there, or they may want to sit their dog or kitty cat or something in front of the camera at their computer rather than them be there. But whatever works for you. But you will be able to be live and interactive with me on the stream. So if you're interested in that, be sure to hurry and comment or send me a message on Facebook, because only the first 5 people are going to be able to do this. I only have 5 slots to put people in, and we'll see how this goes this time. Um, Now it went down to 5 and jumped up to 7. So I was trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, by the way, I did start watching the 4K of Funhouse during my lunch break today. And I'll say it looks pretty damn good. I didn't get all the way through it, but the parts that I saw looked really, really good. Um, so I think that's all of the announcements I have to make. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Middle Lake, you in Texas might be the only ones actually chatting tonight. I mean, somebody might show up a little bit later, but we're going to go ahead and get started with Motel Hell. I mean, look at the cover of this. That is one hell of a cover, is it not? And that is the big scene in Motel Hell. It's actually, I mean, there are several scenes that I like in this, and this movie is very quotable. Um, and if you haven't seen it, you probably won't realize what I'm talking about. But hey, TJ, I'm glad somebody else is in here in the chat. I mean, I was having a good conversation with Texas and Menelec, but I always want the more the merrier. TJ, had you been listening? Did you hear me talk about right before I got started with the movies about if you're one of the first 5 people that comments on my post for the Evil Dead or Evil Laugh watch along, or sends me a message on Facebook? Hey, John, you'll get to hear this too in case you weren't in here to hear it a few minutes earlier. But if you're one of the first 5 people to comment under the post for the Evil Laugh watch along, or to comment, or not comment, send me a Facebook message saying that you would like to be live on the stream. I have 5 open slots. So the first 5 people that either comment under the post for the watch along, or they send me a message on Facebook. So TJ, you heard that. If you're interested in that, if you want to be live on camera, or you want to stick a stuffed animal there, or your dog or cat, but still participate in the live stream, you don't have to be on camera, but you can if you'd like to. John, you say catching this in and out, but moat. You say Motel Hell is what got me into horror now. That is cool. Because I don't usually hear people say that Motel Hell is a movie that got them into horror. I'm actually going to put that up there, because I think that's cool. John, you say, I saw it on Monster Vision and wasn't the same. Hey, Robert Long, you say, I think Clint Eastwood could have played Farmer Vincent. Let's put this up here. Let's see. I think Clint Eastwood could have played Farmer Vincent, and Kathy Bates could have played his sister in Motel Hell if they made a remake movie. I would actually consider watching that if somebody did that, Robert Long. Brandon's awake. He's been asleep for the past half hour or 45 minutes. Hey, Brandon. I may have to let him into the living room. I don't know. Poor old boy. Johnny say, for me, the most important horror as a kid was this, Monster Squad, and Halloween 2. Monster Squad definitely is a gateway film for kids. Oh, there's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I missed out on the Monster Squad when I was a kid. I watched that one much, much later. I was an adult before I watched it. But man, I still enjoy it. But I still don't understand how I missed that one in my youth. I should have been at a prime age for that movie. So y'all keep chatting away in there. I'm gonna go into more details about Motel Hell and this fantastic scene here. And that is actually not a pig with a chainsaw. That is Farmer Vincent with a pig's head and a chainsaw. So the plot of Motel Hell is not really that complicated. Um, Basically, Farmer Vincent and his sister Ida, uh, basically set up people to have car crashes by stringing things across the road for people to run into, or things to cause them to have a blowout and have a car crash. And they do this periodically, and then they take the people while they're passed out, inebriated, whatever, so injured that they can't do anything. They cut their vocal cords so that they can't talk and they can't scream or yell or anything like that for help. They bury them up to their neck in dirt like they're some kind of vegetables. They feed them some kind of gruel that they have. And then when they get ripe, when they get, enough meat on their bones, they take them and then process them to make meat products. So, yeah, I never seen a movie quite like this. I mean, some people may consider it similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm not sure what Brain is doing here. I hope he doesn't knock over my astronaut tonight. Like, bless his heart, he did that last night. TJ, you say I saw Motel Hell late night on TV back when. Was half asleep watching, so it was like a weird nightmare. LOL. I saw a lot of movies like that where it's just. One night I was watching Jaws when I was living at home with my parents, so I had this big screen TV in my little bedroom, and so I was lying in bed one night watching Jaws. I woke up and it was like Jaws was in my face, literally, because there wasn't much room between my bed and that big screen TV. So I totally get that. John, you say, I think because Motel Hell was Paramount, it had a lot of good production quality and writing. It stands out more amongst the funny but bad 80s horror. Yeah, and I had literally forgotten about uh, Paramount being associated with it. See, TJ, you say saw an American Horror Story Roanoke ripped off the pighead killer. Methinks, yeah, in kind of a bad way too. Or was it? Maybe it was United Artists. Well, I'm looking on the spine of mine, and I see MGM. So I don't know. Perhaps maybe there was more than one company that was associated with this. Robert Longy said when they show Motel Hell on Comet TV, they cut the couple out in the motel room part. I guess they think that's a little too racy and kinky to show on Comet TV. Uh, Johnny said New Year's Evil. Yikes! I like it, but that damn song. Yeah. I like the little emoji there, TJ. New Year's Evil. Yeah, you got to say it like that, don't you, John? Um, okay. So anyway, y'all keep chatting. I'm gonna go back to Motel Hell. So we have a girl that's on a motorcycle with her man, and the trap is set up, and of course, Farmer Vincent buries her man up to his neck, cuts his vocal cords. They're planning to turn him into meat products. Um, but Farmer Vincent is taken with the young girl. And so he decides that he's going to spare her and he wants to marry her. It sort of reminds me of Tourist Trap with Chuck Connors, the guy that owned the little Slausson's Lost Oasis, the wax museum and all of that, and Tourist Trap. When he's taken with Molly, but he's so crazy too that he's basically killed all her friends, but he wants to marry Molly. He wants Molly to take the place of his wife, who he ended up killing along with his brother because they were having an affair behind his back. And so Motel Hell, that aspect of Motel Hell sort of reminds me of Tourist Trap. Um, but in another way, it's sort of creepy. Why do these old dudes always want these real young girls? It's like, I don't know. Um, so, um, so anyway, as I said, this movie is also very quotable. Um, for instance, the line, "It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters." I've always liked that line, and it always makes me chuckle every time I hear it. No matter how hokey and cheesy it is, it still never fails to make me laugh when I watch this film or even think about that line. There's another line, "Meat's meat and man's gotta eat." And these are chanted very loudly by Farmer Vincent, by Sister Ida, um, and even in some cases by their brother, who's the cop in the movie. Um, but I find it really kind of hard to believe that their brother doesn't know what Vincent and Ida are doing. It's like, are you that dense? Are you that stupid that you don't know? But we see these really dense characters that don't seem to have a clue in just about every horror film we watch. So I guess, he was an honest part of a horror movie. And I think we all have fun laughing at these people because we know that we would never be that stupid. Um, so, and near the end of the film, Farmer Vincent does actually bust out of his shed or barn or whatever with a pig's head on, I mean, it's not really a pig's head, but it's meant to be a slaughtered pig's head. Um, and when Farmer Vincent is on his deathbed, so to speak, um, there's another line that is really quotable, and he has to cleanse his soul before he dies, so to speak. And he says, "I used preservatives." So he's saying, "I use preservatives in my meat." So, uh, three really big quotable lines, in my opinion. Uh, TJ, you say he is that stupid, LOL, super naive. Yeah, yeah. If we wanted to be a little bit nicer, we could say super naive. Um, but I think Rory Calhoun, playing Farmer Vincent, was great. That was a stroke of genius. Having Nancy Parsons play Ida, what else she was in, Miss Ballbricker from the Porky's movies. So I just think that was the perfect pairing for this movie. I mean, I don't think you could have picked a better couple of actors to play Farmer Vincent and Ida. And then the other people just seem to round things out a little bit. And then you have that kooky swingers couple that you can't see on Comet TV, of course. But everything goes from one wacky off the wall scene to the next. I mean, you don't even have time to breathe before you're going into another scene that you're like, how, how much more or how much further are they going to take this? And then they take it even further. And I'm not talking about gore or anything else. I'm talking about these outrageous, outlandish scenes. It's just one of those types of scenes on top of the other. Uh, and you don't get to breathe. It's like, it's almost like riding a roller coaster or roller coasters, one right after the other. You don't have time to get your breath. So I just think Motel Hell is a really wild, zany, fun ride, almost comic book in the way it's designed. Um, and by comic book, I don't mean like Marvel superhero comic books. I mean just the madcap way that it goes from one outlandish scene to the other, in bright technicolor, almost like comic book pages. Um, I could almost imagine Ida and Farmer Vincent becoming these comic book characters, standing in front of the Motel Hello, um, with the O burned out, and standing there with their pitchforks and stuff. Um, just amazing, amazingly cheesy, amazingly fun, um, amazingly outlandish. I mean, I don't think there were too many movies like this at the time period that this one was made, and definitely not on the level that Motel Hell was. Robert Long, you say all three Porky's movies was great. I particularly liked the first two, Robert Long, but I think that's interesting. You like all three of them. Robert Long, you said that sheriff he played on the Chips TV show. See, I never watched Chips, so I was never aware of who really was on that. Hey, old curly jaws, you say next week for Extreme Cheese Wednesday, Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. Well, maybe I'll do Bloody Bloody Bible Camp at some point, but actually, what we're going to be covering, old curly jaws, is offerings and pledge night. So you can look forward to that, or maybe not. um, TJ, you say in the late 70s, early 80s, there were a lot of older actors going into B movies like Chuck Connors in Tourist Trap. Calhoun did Angel, Avenging Angel, and he was in Hell Comes to Frogtown. That you are exactly right on that, TJ. So, I don't know. I could keep going on and on about Motel Hell and how much fun, what a fun ride it is. But as I've said the few times in the few streams that I've had before this one, that I'm trying to narrow down how long I'm actually talking about each movie, so that you guys don't get too bogged down with information or start to get bored or anything like that. So, Oh, Curly Jaws, you say, did you like the New York Ripper? That's a classic. I do like New York Ripper. And we actually talked about that last night. Oh, Curly Jaws in the Argento versus Fulci stream. But I did not like it as well as the comparison um with the Argento film, which see I can't even remember. Hold on just one second here. So how a New York Ripper was the third one. So we compared that with Argento's Phenomena last night, and I had to say that I personally thought that Phenomena was a better film than the New York Ripper. Yeah, that's exactly right, TJ. Um, so, with all that being said about me trying to be more brief with the movie analysis, you guys can feel free to continue to talk about it. But I do want to, especially if you've never seen Motel Hell, you are in for one hell of a wild ride, man, if you have not seen it. So, um, I encourage you, if you've never seen it, to seek a version out, preferably a free version till you determine if you like it enough to purchase it. Um, if it's been a while since you've seen Motel Hell, oh my goodness, pull this sucker back out and watch it again. You'll be laughing in no time and having one hell of a good time. I can almost guarantee it. Okay, so let's look at a couple of let's see what old Curly Jaws says here. But this phenomenon have a guy voicing like a duck. That was epic. You like that, huh? And you say, not seen Motel Hell. I was close to buying it on DVD. Well, you know what, old Curly Jaws, like I always say, I just said it, but I'll say it again. If you've never seen some of these, even if I say, run, don't walk, and go out and watch them or try to get them. What by that I don't mean that you have to plunk down your hard-earned money before watching it for free. So if you can find a friend that has it, that is willing to let you borrow. If you can find it on YouTube, if you can find it on Amazon Prime, if you can find it on Tubi, there are so many outlets now. I mean, you have to pay for Amazon Prime, but you get, several different privileges with the Prime, and one of those is being able to watch stuff on Prime through Amazon. Um, Robert Long, he said, did you watch American Gothic? That movie needed a sequel. I did watch American Gothic, and actually, Robert Long, I think I I may have talked about American Gothic during my bad movie stream Monday. So if you missed out on that, Robert Long, you can feel free to seek out my bad movie stream from Monday and watch it, especially if you'd like to hear what I think about it. Okay. So with that being said, again, y'all can continue to chat about Motel Hell or anything else, but I'm going to move on to New Year's Evil. Um, Steve, I think, is so bored of watching New Year's Evil every New Year's Eve that I think he kind of, if I remember correctly, kind of finked out on me this year or this past year and didn't even watch it with me for New Year's Eve. I was heartbroken because he didn't even stay up to ring in the New Year with me. And he always does that, and he didn't this past year. So I was a little bummed over that, but I still ended up watching New Year's Evil myself. We did do a commentary a few years back, maybe I don't know if it was more than 2 or 3 years, but we did do one. Uh, oh goodness. Oh. Oh, Curly Jaw, since you're in here, I don't know if you were in here earlier, and I'm sorry, guys, I keep repeating this, but I just want to make sure everybody that's in here knows about it in case they're interested. Oh, Curly Jaws, I know you did express an interest in being a co host at some point on one of my streams. Well, this is kind of an opportunity for you if you're interested in it. Um, where I have posted for the Evil Laugh watch along on Facebook, I have posted on my personal Facebook page and also the Deadites on Deck page. So, what I am offering is if you're one of the first 5 people to either comment on the post for the Evil Laugh watch along and say that you would like to be live on the stream with me, or you message me on Facebook and let me know the same thing, whichever way you want to do it. The first 5 people will be able to be live on the stream with me when I do the watch along for Evil Laugh. And I do have a link, a YouTube link for Evil Laugh as well. So if you guys, anybody in here is interested, be sure to get your comment or your message in. And I will, I'm not expecting to be overwhelmed with requests, but if you really want to, be in on this time around, then I would definitely say get your comments or your messages in as quickly as you can. Oh, Curly Jaws, you say, I want New York Ripper 2 Electric Boogaloo, but with an actual duck killing people. That would be hilarious. Uh, yeah, it'd be almost like a. Would you want like a Howard the Duck kind of creature killing people, or an actual like quack duck, like a duck from a pond or a lake or something? But New Year's Evil is another really fun movie, but it also has an enormous amount of cheese in this. This movie has so much cheese, the rats and the mice. It's a wonder they haven't ate my Blu-ray. I mean, literally. Uh, this movie stars Roz Kelly as and you can see Roz Kelly's the redhead there. Roz Kelly was Pinky Tuscadero on Happy Days. She was Fonzie's girlfriend at one time. They did have, I guess, a short-lived series called the Pinky Tuscadero Hour or something like that, where the blonde there playing the nurse was on that show with Roz Kelly. So they were friends and still are friends. Um, and Roz Kelly plays sort of like a pseudo MTV VJ or something of that sort. She has a show she does, and so they're wanting her to do a New Year's Evil all night thing, and then they're going to celebrate New Year's Eve in each one of the time zones. Well, there's a killer out there that is going to kill somebody when it gets to New Year's Eve in each of the time zones. And this is no secret. The movie never tries to hide who the killer is. You see clearly who the killer is, and the killer is played by Kip Niven. But you really don't know what his relationship is with Roz Kelly's character, Blaze, um, until um, near the end of the film. Grant Kramer from Killer Clowns from Outer Space is also in this film playing Roz Kelly's son in the movie. And I remember Grant Kramer doing an interview, and I think them talking about how Roz Kelly couldn't be old enough to be Grant Kramer's mom in this movie. It's like, what? Roz Kelly looked old enough to be his mom. It wasn't like Roz Kelly was a young chick when this movie was made. Um, so hold on here. Oh, Curly Georgie said, I want an actual duck with a knife. Now that would be pretty interesting. You've never seen Evil Laugh? Well, oh, Curly Jaws, I think you're in for a treat with this one. Especially if you've never seen it. But if you want to be on the stream, you want to be live on the stream, be sure to get your comment or your message sent in. And everybody can watch it together. So, um, so Kid Niven is going around and he's dressing in different outfits. We start out um, in a mental hospital, the Crawford Sanitarium, it's called, and he is dressed as an orderly or something. With the ruse that he tells the nurse when she discovers him pop out of this room, she's like, "Oh my gosh, who are you?" And he's like, "Well, the county sent me over," and she's like, "Oh, we really need you." And the blonde nurse is played by, I believe it's Taffy O'Connell. Tabby O'Connell may have also been on Happy Days. I'm not really sure, but when they do the interview with her, she's a trip. Um, and she talked about kissing Kip Niven, and she talked about what a good kisser Kip Niven was. And Kip Niven is also interviewed on this too. And I believe that sadly Kip Niven passed away kind of recently in the last year or so, maybe. Um, but when they interviewed him, he kind of looked uh, like a professor or something, but he could still do the voice, the I am evil voice. And he talked about, I think he would do that voice for his daughter's friends when his daughter was growing up, and they'd be like, "Oh, let's see what TJ says here. TJ, you say I first caught New Year's Evil on Elvira's Movie Macabre back in the early '90s on the boob tube. And so, TJ, what did you think of it? I mean, at that point in time, I'm trying to remember the first time I saw New Year's Evil, but here's something else wacky about New Year's Evil is the fact that they keep talking about this music like it's new wave or something like that. This stuff ain't new wave. It's punk at best, or as Steve said, it's bad punk. Because you have this group called Shadow who sings that New Year's Evil song. I don't know how many times that damn song is played in this movie. Um, but damn, they must have got that song for free or something because they just kept playing it, kept playing it. Um, and Steve always likes to go blah 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 blah. He likes to do that kind of mocking that music, and he likes to do his evil impression as well. Um, but I hope nobody I hope Wes doesn't sneak in here and capture video of me doing that, mimicking that song, because he'll find some way to put that on something, and I will be mortified. But anyway, they play the hell out of the New Year's Evil song by Shadow. But there are also other songs in there. The Cooler, Dumb Blondes. Um, I'm trying to think if there was any more. I mean, you have the one really close up shot of the guy licking the microphone. He's just like that, licking the microphone. And then this one guy's opening his mouth at the end of the song and laughing, and there's a bunch of spit in his mouth. I mean, a lot of saliva. Um, and the way the people that are at the show are dancing, it's like, what? Did somebody give Quaaludes to all these people or something? They're just going, oh, like that, and just bumping into each other. And there's a guy that looks like a young Howard Stern that's just kind of bumping up against people. And then sometimes they're doing it fast. It's like just bumper cars, but like human bumper cars bumping into each other all the time. This movie's great. If you have not seen it, I urge you to watch it. Um, TJ, you say it kept me interested. I watched it years later on New Year's with some friends, and it was fun. It is slow at times, and I could definitely see that, especially if you've watched it more than once. And I've talked about this before about me being able. I know when I've watched a movie too many times in close succession because I start to tune out and start to do other things like play with my phone or, glancing out the window at what's going on if it's daytime, um, paying more attention to the dogs or my other animals instead of watching the movie. And those are all indicators that you've watched these movies too close together or watched one movie too close to the last time that you watched it. And so when I get to that point, I always try to wait a little while before I watch it again. Texas, you say when Shadow was playing that blues song and they're all doing that slow slamming. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. It's great. It's bad and it's cheesy, but it's great too. Um, yeah, if they were really gonna try to show the punk scene at that time period, I agree with you. They really needed some real LA hardcore bands like in suburbia. Um, but did you notice, Texas, that they kind of kept referring to it as like new wave stuff? And I was like, this is obviously not new wave. So I don't know if they were trying to go for a wider audience and they thought by saying it was new wave that would get more of an audience. I'm just not really sure about that. TJ, you say the kills weren't too memorable for the most part, except maybe the plastic bag kill. The chase of the drive-in was out of place, but it worked as a quirky early 80s cheese. Yeah, and I don't know. The girl here's another example of the foolish things that happen in horror movies. The chick that was smoking the pot in the back seat of the car while her boyfriend was trying to fill her up and make out with her, and she was just really too stoned to even care. And he's rubbing on her big boobs and stuff like that, and he's undone her top and all of that. And then when Kip Niven's character comes and like just pulls the guy out of the car and takes off with the girl in the back seat, she had plenty of time. Just don't sit there and try to button your top up. You've been sitting there with your tits out for a good 5 or 10 minutes. It's like, get the fuck out of the car. And she just sits there like, I gotta fasten my shirt up. But again, I guess they wanted to put that suspenseful scene in there of Kip Niven's character going around dressed as a priest, but clicking the knife on the metal bleachers and stuff like that where the girl goes to hide, and all of that. The I guess that was their big build up, and it was sort of suspenseful, but yet it was so insane, as my dad would say, asinine, the way the girl acts. There was clearly plenty of time for her to get out of that damn back seat of that car, and get away. And so, I have to really laugh at something like that. I mean, we let that stuff go in movies, but when you think about it outside of the context of the movie and what type of movie it is, it just seems so ridiculous. Um, Casey said New Way was just a safe thing to say because they were scared of punk. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I bet you're right. They were scared of real punk or real punks. And so, yeah, I could totally see that. TJ, you say I couldn't tell if it was intentional comedy, like the random couple trapped in the elevator scene. Yeah, that was another ridiculous thing of where like they're everybody's on drugs in this movie, it seems. And these people were no exception. And they were out of their gourd. I'm wondering if some of these people weren't really on drugs. It's almost like the director might have just pulled them off of the street and said, "Hey, want to be in this movie?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'll be in this movie. If you'll give me a few more quaaludes or let me smoke some pie or whatever." Um, But, some of the ways I'm talking about it, you guys might get the indication that I didn't enjoy it, but no, I immensely enjoy this movie. Um, and I could watch it any time of the year. I try to mainly reserve my watching for New Year's Eve, but there have been other times that I've watched it. For instance, when I got this Blu-ray in, I watched it to see how the quality was. And the quality was really good, um, but I almost don't know if it was worth double dipping actually because, um, there wasn't really any extra stuff that wasn't on the original Blu-ray. Um, and I'll tell you something about the audio commentary on this. There is audio commentary on this version plus the previous Blu-ray version, with the director Emmett Alston, but oh, for the love of God, it's moderated by Code Red's Bill Banana Man Olson. So beware, 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 beware. If you get either the previous Blu-ray or the Kino Lorber one or both, and if you already have one and not the other, you still probably know what I'm talking about. That commentary is almost unlistenable, if that's a word, because of Bill freaking Olson's name comments and I just get tired of hearing his excuses about why some of his releases are shitty. He never blames himself. He always wants to blame the fans for complaining about stuff. And it's like, well, dude, if you would quit, screwing up so bad, then maybe people wouldn't complain about your product. DJ, you said the killer had some weirdly funny one liners like get smashed when he uses the elevator as a weapon. Yes, he certainly does. Texas said that one heavy set woman from the bar was the hot and bothered nympho in Last American Virgin. I did not realize that, Texas. It's been a while, of course, since I watched Last American Virgin. And to be honest, I like Last American Virgin, but boy, is that a bummer of a movie. Um, I absolutely hate what happens to Lawrence Monason in that movie. Um, I was just, yeah, I was so depressed and bummed out at the end of that movie because I could not believe what they did to that poor guy in that movie within the confines of that movie. Um, but I do like New Year's Evil for all of the cheesiness, for all the craziness, um, for all of the evil one-liners. Um, I think in my case, it was well worth my money. Again, I don't know for sure that I should have double dipped, but everybody kept talking about how good the transfer looked on this one. And it does, in my opinion, look better than the other version. But perhaps in my case, I should have waited and not just jumped the gun and went on and bought it as soon as it came out, like I did. Um, TJ, you say Texas, she and Kip Niven passed away back in 2019. So that was a couple years, or no, 3 years since Kip Niven has passed. Wow. Time just flies by. John, you say, why did he want to kill everyone again? Was it jealousy or just crazy? I think it was a little bit of both. He was jealous of Roz Kelly's character, or Blaze, or Diane was her real name in the movie. Um, I think he was jealous of her and her success and all of that. And then I think he was batshit crazy because I don't know if everybody caught this, but they say that he was actually a patient at the Crawford Sanitarium at one time. So, and I don't know if that was just a throwaway thing that they tossed in there or they meant for people to catch that and say, oh, yeah, I see why he did that. So, what did everybody think about? Okay, yeah, actually, I'm going to. Texas says great film, but you're right, the ending does suck. Uh, John, you said the pantyhose son was cuckoo. Yes, Grant Kramer. Actually, when they interview Grant Kramer on both of these releases, he talks about how he went in for the interview, that he brought some pantyhose with him and a knife, and he did the whole thing. And they were just wowed by that. And that's probably one of the main reasons that they hired him, because he was able to pull that off so well. Um, so yeah, he was definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in that movie, and we are led to we were led to believe that the son was going to take over where the father left off, because that final shot of obviously the son driving the ambulance, and he's got the mask on that his father had. Um, before he jumped off the building to his death. Uh, so, I mean, they could have had a New Year's Evil too. I don't know if anybody would have watched it. I probably would have. Um, TJ, you say he was crazy, John. Some man reasoning about being dominated by his money making wife. LOL. Yeah, he actually gives that kind of speech at the end when that's one thing that I think maybe could have been left out of it. Why did they have to waste time with him sitting there explaining everything to Roz Kelly and explaining why he was doing it, what he was going to do to her? I don't think that really created any extra layer of tension or anything. Um, I think they could have tightened that up just a tad and not had that conversation go on so long. Johnny say, haha, all he needed was someone to talk to him and go, divorce is an option, buddy, before murder. Exactly. TJ, you say trivia. The company that made the mask, Stan Laurel, made the mask in Terror Train. That's interesting too, TJ. I did not realize that, although I should have because the masks are very similar. I love this trivia that you guys have. So I could go on and on about this movie, but again, I'm trying to tighten up some of these streams, so they don't go on overly long. I've been on here for about an hour and 20 minutes, close to it. Um, and I've enjoyed talking about both Motel Hell and New Year's Evil. I'll be glad to stay on here a few more minutes if you guys want to kind of shoot the breeze with me for a few more minutes, and we can talk about these two movies still. We can talk about some other stuff. Um, you guys could throw me out some suggestions for future streams, if you would like, because I definitely take all this stuff into consideration. I don't just like BS to you guys and say, oh, yeah, because actually I'm wanting to continue to do some of these versus nights. When I finish up with the Argento versus Fulci, I definitely do want to do either Martino versus Lindsay. I would like to do Mate versus Fragrasso. So if you have any other suggestions for versus streams I could do at a later point in time, then I would be certainly be glad to include those in my list. TJ, you say it was a Canadian company called Caesar, but the masks are impossible to find. I think the company doesn't exist anymore. Probably not at this point. Texas, you say I should do a watch along on Mask. Now, are you talking about Mask as in the Eric Stoltz share um, movie, and not the what is it, the Jim Carrey Mask? I would probably have to have Steve on here if I did Martin versus Sinatra, because believe it or not, Steve knows more about that than I do. If you'd really like me to do that, Texas, we could try doing that. Oh, goodness gracious. Brandon's all covered in stars back there, bless his heart. Poor feller. He has a lot of trouble with his legs and being able to be mobile and stuff. But once he finally gets up, he moves pretty good. I noticed Dirk wasn't in here tonight. Perhaps he might be busy with something. He a lot of times if he misses these actual streams, he will watch them on the replay. So the Eric Stoltz film. Perhaps we might do that at some point in time if people don't think they would get too depressed watching that. Because I actually think that is a good idea. I mean, we don't always have to do horror movies. We can do other things. Oh, goodness. Guys, I think I'm going to pour me a little bit of a coffee drink. I will be right back. I'm not going to go away just yet. We still got 4 people in here. Careful, Brandon. Brandon. Oh, you're going to... Well, there it went. Lose your balance, Dad. Okay, let's see here. Texas, you say you had some stream before you started an unboxing or something. Oh, that's cool. Um, can't really compete with unboxings. I'm gonna have to do an unboxing at some point. Um, Perhaps I will do an unboxing next Tuesday. Um, but you know me, I'm always like, because next Tuesday I'm supposed to be getting at least 4Ks. Um, that might not wow anybody, but they're ones that I've been looking forward to. So I think it's Friday the 13th, The Fog, and Fatal Attraction. So, yeah, I may have to go and watch Dirk stream because I'm kind of curious what he was doing an unboxing for. TJ, you said Mask and Elephant Man would be a good double feature, although both endings are somber to say the least. And Texas, you said that's a great idea, actually. Um, yeah, I will look into that. I've never had a double feature watch along, so that would definitely be a first for me. Um, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm probably going to stay on here for another 3 minutes till about 9:30. Usually these Cheese Extreme Wednesdays, I try to make a little bit shorter than some of my other stuff. But y'all keep putting things in the chat for the next 3 minutes, and I'll be sure to answer anything that I can answer if y'all ask questions. Or you can feel free to make comments or anything else in there. Um, I kind of hope people take me up on the offer of being live on the stream because I'm kind of wanting to test out the invite function. And it's supposed to be real easy. As far as, having people in the stream and all that. I'm looking at these different layouts on here actually. Texas, you say you'd like to try it. So do you mean like being on the stream with me or the double feature idea? Because if you want to be on the stream, definitely go ahead and get your comment on there. Actually, TJ, I don't think you have to have StreamYard in order for, me to be able to invite you because prior to me doing these last few streams on StreamYard, I did not have StreamYard, but the Dead Pit Boys were able to invite me on for some of their streams. So I would say no, you don't have to. If somebody else knows otherwise, then please let me know in there. Um, Texas, say LOL the stream. Okay, well, if you're interested in that, Texas, then yeah, just get your comment in there. I know you're my friend on Facebook, and I believe you like the Deadites on Deck Facebook page. So get your comment on either one of those. And if I have people that kind of put a comment on both, or not the same person, but they two different people put them on two different posts near the same time. Of course, I'll go by the timestamp and pick the person that put it earlier. You just put it in here. All right. So, well, I got at least one person that will that will do the stream with me. It might just be me in Texas, unless TJ, unless he does. So it is now. Well, it's actually now. You say it should count. Oh yeah, yeah. I totally. So are you saying you didn't put anything on Facebook? You're just going to put it in here. So I'll count it, Texas. I'll count it as you're my first person. So I'll have four more slots for people to be in there. Uh, TJ, you said maybe I do have a face made for radio. LOL. I'd love to have you on there if as long as you feel comfortable. I know um, there are two damn fruit flies that are just circling around. It's like every time I bring a drink that doesn't have a top on it, they just start swarming. But I was talking to Wes the other night about different people being on, and I was asking him about certain people, and I was kind of shocked at one person that, when I'm not going to tell tales out of school because this person might not want me saying that Wes said they were shy. But Wes told me this person was shy and didn't really want to be on camera. I'm like, really? So it kind of shocked me. Um, Cause I used to be, like, really shy, and then I went through a phase where I didn't wanna be on camera at all. When I used to do my old videos back when I was still living at home with my parents, what quite a bit before Steve and I got married and everything, I would do videos and I would focus on whatever I was talking about, a movie case or whatever, and, um not my face. There were a handful of times that I was on camera, but generally I did not want to be. Now I figure, I'm not the best looking person in the world. I admit to that, but I just think it makes these streams more personable if you are on camera. And I've gotten comfortable enough to, I hope, conduct myself where I don't look like a complete moron when I'm doing these things. Uh, oh goodness, got the hiccups. I think I drank that coffee drink too fast. Um, Texas, you say I might be wearing a mask, so be prepared. Really, you're gonna wear a mask? You don't need to wear a mask, Texas. But you can if you want. I'm not going to say that there's a stipulation that you can't um, wear the mask. Um, so Texas, being as you might be the only other one on the stream with me, other than maybe if TJ's on there with us. Um, well, I guess I should ask both of you. Where would you like the uh, invite sent? Because TJ, I mean, it could be possible that you and I are friends on Facebook, and I don't always know people's screen names and associate them with people's real names. Now I know Texas is a real name, and he is my friend on Facebook, so I could send him the link through a Facebook chat. But TJ, if you decide, uh, you maybe could send me a private message with how that you want me to send you the link. Um, or I guess the link is all the same for all the people. I could just I could just maybe put it out there for everybody to see, but then I'm afraid that everybody's going to click on that link and start showing up backstage for StreamYard. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Not that I think it's going to be that popular, but you know what I mean. TJ, you said, nah, Dana, you do good here on the video. Thank you, TJ. I appreciate that. Texas, say, I told you I look slightly better than the Elephant Man. Texas, I've seen your picture on Facebook. I've seen your stuff on the Dead Pit Facebook page. Don't you don't look anything like the Elephant Man. So Texas, say send mine in Messenger, I guess. Okay. If you have a different way that you want me to do that, then just send it my way if there's an email or something you want me to send it to. TJ, you say if if I can do it, can I DM you through the Deadites on Deck page? Yeah, you should be able to, TJ. I think you can send me a message that way. So yeah, feel free to do it that way. Johnny say, I watched The Living Dead in Manchester Morgue today. Awesome film. Very different than I expected. That is a good little movie. Very atmospheric, I feel. Um, John, you said, did you do a show on it yet? Maybe you did. I don't, no, I haven't did one on, if you're talking about Living Dead in Manchester Morgue, I have not. But guys, I hate to. This has been so much fun. I just want to remind you if you are interested in being on the stream Saturday for the Evil Laugh Watch Along, I'd be glad to have you. Just get your comment or message in as quick as you can in case those spots do fill up. Um, so, with all that being said, I think I'm going to skedaddle on out of here before these stupid fruit flies drive me crazy and get my drink. And I'm going to try to get some rest because I had been honestly feeling a little more poorly than um, I was last week. And I think part of it might be the stress of everything that I was dealing with. Um, as far as work's concerned. But I think I just need to get some extra rest. But I don't think I'm going to get it this weekend because Steve's got his class reunion coming up Friday. We're planning on going to Horror Hound Saturday. Um, and Sunday we might be able to rest, but I'm taking a half day off from work on Friday. So, uh, oh gosh, I wish these things. I don't even have anything for them to get to, and I guess they're just swarming around these lights now. Uh, but before I lose my freaking mind from these bugs, see, y'all can see probably clearly see them on this camera swarming around my head. I don't know what me and Steve are gonna do about these damn things. I thought we almost had them gone, and then it went and got nuggy and hot again, and it just seemed like they just came back with a vengeance. Um, I almost feel like I'm stuck in a horror movie about fruit flies in our house. So, anyway, with that being said, I am going to skedaddle on out of here. And I want to thank all you guys for hanging out with me for a little over 90 minutes. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.